Hello everybody, my name is Zeke, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a reading vlog focused specifically on very weird slash unsettling books. I have two books picked out that I've really been wanting to read for a while. One is a short story collection called Out There by Kate Folk. I've just heard that these stories are very weird, very original, and a lot of people really enjoyed them. It came out, I think, last year and was not insanely popular, but I saw it a few times across the internet and have just been really excited to read it ever since I heard about it. The second book I'm going to read is Lapvona by Otessa Moshfegh. This is a much more popular book that came out last year by a very popular author, also kind of a controversial author. I've read a lot of Otessa Moshfegh books and I've liked some of them more than others, but she's very popular. My Year of Rest and Relaxation is probably her most popular book. A lot of people really love her writing. I think it's hit or miss, but I've been really excited to read this one. This one, I literally know nothing about the plot, so I guess I'll update you once I start reading it, and I'll tell you all about it. But I've just heard it's really disgusting, very weird. I know it's set in like medieval times, and I just know there's probably a lot of gross stuff that goes on, and this one got really mixed reviews. So I'm not sure how it would go, but it's something I've been wanting to read for a while. So we'll see how it kind of pans out. Though plot twist, I actually already started reading Out There, and I read, I think, a good portion, like a third of it, and definitely really good so far. What I like about it is that the stories are very weird in content, but stylistically the writing is very kind of straightforward and very readable and very exciting to read. So I'm definitely getting through it fast and enjoying everything I'm reading. It's very unlike something like Seven Empty Houses by Samantha Schweblin, which is another weird short story collection I read recently, because the stories are weird in their content, but also the style of writing is often what makes them so weird. So it's just nice to have something that's very readable and still very enjoyable and still very out there, like the title. And I'm just really enjoying every story so far. I'll definitely give some highlights when I'm done with the book, but I have to finish the book before I do that. And if anything else sticks out to me that I want to talk about, I will talk about it when I'm further in. But that's gonna do it for now, and I will update once I'm either done or have something to say about Out There. Okay, I just finished Out There, and it was everything I wanted and more. Probably one of the best short story collections I've ever read. Just really unique, original, and engaging in a way that I think short stories can be hard sometimes to really catch your attention because they're so short. They have such little time to actually talk about their ideas and topics. But personally, I really feel like there wasn't a single bad story in here. Everything was incredible. Everything was so well executed and so well explored, even though some were really short. There was a good mix of shorter ones and longer ones, and they were all very original, and there wasn't a single one that I would take out in any way. Definitely had some favorites. There was the first one and the last one were both about kind of the same idea and took place in the same kind of world. These are all take place on like Earth, whatever. That was a confusing thing to say, but just they're very much related and cover the same topic. And just having that, they were both incredible, but ending with the one that they did really just, I feel like, tied together everything in the collection so well. These stories in general are very odd. They're very unsettling. Some of them are quite creepy, but this last one was a little more heartwarming, and I just really appreciated that. Also, there was one about these people with these strange conditions where their bones dissolve at night, and that was a bit of a longer one that I really thoroughly enjoyed. Also just very unsettling. And another one was really creepy, was about this woman who lives in this house, and there's like a shelter in her house that's like flooded, and weird things go on there, and I really liked that one. And lastly, another one was about this house that's really dry and needs to be moisturized, just as weird and creepy as it sounds. But those were just some of my favorites. As I said, I really think every single story in here was so good. I'm so glad I read this, and so scratch that itch of unsettling, creepy, weird thing to read. So very good start to this. I'm gonna start Lapvona soon. I'll update on that, and hopefully I enjoy that just as much as I enjoyed this, although I don't expect to, but we'll see how it goes, and I'll check in sometime soon when I'm a good portion of the way through the book. Okay, so I actually lied. This is not me checking in halfway through the book. I actually finished it, and that's because as I was reading it, I got about halfway through. I was like, if I was going to share my thoughts right now, what meaningful contribution to the world could I really make? What actual opinions did I have to share? And I didn't have a lot to say, honestly, and that's because this book was severely disappointing to me. For various reasons. So in this book, we're in a very depressing setting. We are in the town, village, whatever you want to call it, of Lapvona in like medieval times. Everyone's in poverty. Everyone is leading very miserable lives because of their financial and just physical situation in life. They have nothing. And they're all under this lord who lives kind of high above them and never interacts with them ever, and kind of hoards everything that they need and creates issues for them in various ways. And we're really following our main character is the son of this shepherd who is apparently distantly related to this lord, and that's kind of the perspective we get the majority of the story from, although we do see some other perspectives as well. But I just feel like the story is really slow, and at its heart, it is just a really simple story of corruption of this lord that you can kind of tell from the start. I don't think anything was very surprising. I don't think anything like thematically was very in-depth or profound enough for what you have to go through in reading this book, because it is vile, it is disgusting. There are just really gross things that happen through the whole book that I just don't think are necessary. They're really for shock factor, I feel. I don't feel like they add to the story. I understand why some of them are there, because she really is trying to build this atmosphere with this book, and I get that, but at the same time, I just don't think it's worth it for the actual story she ends up telling, to have to read the stuff that's just not fun to read. That's my personal opinion. So I was pretty disappointed by this, but I also didn't have my hopes too high, because I kind of knew going in that this might not be my favorite. And I'm still going to read whatever she puts out next, because it's always an interesting experience. I'll always give her that. But honestly, this was like a 2.5 star for me. And like even the general story, the general themes of the book weren't bad. And if we had left out all those gross things that just kind of felt a little extra for what it was, then maybe I'd give it a 3 star. And I know some people think that what she adds is really important to the story, and I won't argue that, I get it, but at the same time, just personally, I don't think it was worth it. So that's that. So this vlog, these two books kind of mixed, one I really enjoyed, one I didn't, but they were both definitely weird, both definitely unsettling, which kind of fits what I was trying to do. So kind of successful. And also, I still had been wanting to read Lapvona for a while, so I'm glad I finally got to actually read it, even though it wasn't my favorite. But also, I want to just talk about something else really quickly. So, luckily for me, I went to a used bookstore very recently, and I picked out some books, and I just wanted to show you what I got. They're all older books, I guess you could call them classics, just because that's what this bookstore has a lot of. And it's a really cool store. I don't have any like videos of the store because that's too awkward for me, but I'll just show you what books I got. So first, I got this really small, cute edition of Young Goodman Brown and Other Stories by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I've read this short story before, and I really liked it, and I just wanted to own a little copy of it, and also maybe read some other stories by him, because maybe I'll end up enjoying them. The other thing I got was McTeague by Frank Norris. Don't know a lot about this book, but I read the synopsis in the store. It sounded really interesting, and I have definitely heard of it in the past, and also I just think this edition is really cool. So I just thought I'd get it, I'll read it at some point, but it definitely seemed interesting at the time, and I don't really remember what the synopsis said, and I'm going to leave it that way. I'm going to try to maybe go in blind with this, but that's something I'm looking forward to reading at some point. And I also got this copy of Jane Eyre, because I've never read it, and it's a classic, and I should read it at some point, and it is good to have. and it was an easy pick for me. So those are 3 books I got. So that's gonna do it for this video. This was definitely kind of a shorter vlog situation just because I didn't film a lot, because I didn't really have a lot to say, but that's okay. Also, just talking about these new books, didn't have a ton to say because I feel like they're classics and I didn't know a lot about them to begin with. So that's gonna do it. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you want. I try to post videos once a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, and I will see you in the next one.